May we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Melissa.
Commissioner Ola Morris,
Present?
Commissioner Maurice Mabon,
Present.
Commissioner Willie Cook,
Present.
Commissioner Frida Graves,
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris,
Present.
Executive Director Reagan Hatcher,
Present.
Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Pursuant to Indiana law, Section 514(1.561, I certify that prior to the start of today's meeting, there was an executive session held and there was nothing discussed in the executive session that was not indicated on the posted notice of the executive session. And being in compliance with Indiana state statute, there were no final votes held during executive session. May we have
Madam President, just real quickly, if we can just confirm that there are no commissioners that dissent your certification?
I'm sorry?
We just need to confirm that there are no commissioners that would dissent to your certification, the certification you just read.
Thank you. Yes, what he said, that there were no commissioners. Is there any commissioners who don't agree with the status?
All right, and also, it doesn't sound like there are, and also, Madam President, just for purposes of the record, William Allen is absent today. He indicated he wouldn't be able to, attend, and it's an excused absence. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Now go with the minutes? Okay.
You ready? Okay. Madam Vice President, I make a motion to accept the regular minute meetings of January 10, January 24 of 2025.
I'd like to second that.
It's been moved in second. May we have the vote, roll call, vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Graves,
Abstain.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes?
We have the vote of 3 ayes, and did she say absent?
I'm staying.
Abstain, so 3 ayes and 1 abstention.
Okay, the minutes will be approved. New business. We have a motion to approve the payroll.
Yes, I make a motion to approve and ratify GSD payroll earnings for period ending December 30th, 2024 through January 12th, 2025, in the amount of $260,919.05.
You heard the motion to approve payroll. Is there a second?
I second it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on, Madam Chair. There was an overview. I think Mr. Cook will be the actual motion. We just need someone else to second it. Go ahead.
Ms. Cook, want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
So
second.
moved, Madam Chair.
I'll second it.
Vote, may I have the vote? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Graves,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Mabon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
4 ayes, 0 noes, the motion passed. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary.
No,
We
just
we
next
voted
item.
on that one.
Next
Yeah,
item.
Next item.
Oh,
Madam President and Board, I request that you make a motion to approve GSE Resolution 20 SD 2508, approving the signature authorization for the State Revolving Loan Fund Program at 27th and Chase, Phase 3, project number SD 24-06.
Thank you for the overview. Are there any questions? If not, then we have a roll call vote, please.
We need a motion.
Make a motion, I'm sorry. This is one hell of a day, right?
2.2.
Make a motion, 2.2.
Now we're ready for roll call.
Commissioner Graves? Yes. Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
4 ayes, 0 noes, the motion passes. May we have a
2.3, just tell it. 2.3.
overview on a motion for approval of professional services, 2.2.
No, we're at 2.3.
The 2.3.
Yeah, 2.3.
So 2.3, we'll make a recommendation to approve Resolution SD 25-09, which is a declaratory resolution of the board relative to an intention to seek funding for sewer improvements. This is for the same 27th and Chase project, but it will be a forgivable bond anticipation note or grant from SRF relative to the project.
Okay. First President's got- Didn't need to ask any questions. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions?
Just wanted to be clear, you said a forgivable.
Yes, forgivable, it's a forgivable bond anticipation note, so essentially a grant, but it's structured as a bond anticipation note because it's forgiven once the project is completed. So if for some reason it wasn't completed, it'd have to be repaid, but once the project is completed, it's forgiven, so it's technically classified as a grant.
Okay.
Any questions? Can you get a motion on,
I make a motion, Commissioner, to approve 2.3.
motion's been approved, made and second? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Graves? Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook? Yes. Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
I'm sorry.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the motion's passed. May we get an overview on the professional services?
Yes, we'd like to make a motion to approve a professional service contract by and between Gary Sanitary District and Cinder Dalton Municipal Advisors for financial consulting services for year 2025.
If I could add to that overview a little bit. So as you know, currently Cinder Dalton provides financial services right now, financial advisory services to the district now. This is a renewal agreement. We did modify the scope of work a bit to make sure that there wasn't any overlap with any other financial advisors currently doing work for the district. So outside of that, that's the only difference you'll see in this contract versus last year. And I also recommend approval.
Attorney, do we have the current contract?
Yes, it was just passed out.
Oh, okay.
It's at the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, yeah. You'll also see us, the the same contract under the stormwater agenda. It has all the same terms, but it allows them to provide the same financial services to both entities.
Okay. So, other questions?
May we have a motion to approve 2.4, please?
So, make a motion to approve, Madam President.
It has been moved in second, and the 2.4 is passed.
Do a roll call.
May we get a roll call vote?
Commissioner Graves,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, 2.4 passes. 2.5, can we get an overview of the 2.5?
2.5, just looking to see if, yes. Would you like to get up?
2.5 is for the repair of 2440 Diamond Street. This was a cave-in behind the house. The line was blocked and had to be pumped down every day in order for the resident to get, to have service. So because it was an emergency job, it had to be done right away, and I recommend the approval of this emergency repair.
So, Mr. Gervais, you're not getting a lot of participation in these bids, are you? I mean, you submitted 12 and we only got 2 back?
Yes, we submitted 12 and we only got 2 back.
Okay.
Or it's either, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Maybon, we have, Mr. Anderson and I have talked about that, and we think that there may be some regulations that may be stopping other bidders from making bids. We're going to work with Will Allen on that and see if we can't get more participation, even if it's from outside of the city limits. These emergency repairs ding us about 10 times a year, and it really is taking up a big chunk of our free cash. So we're looking into a couple of different options, but it has been difficult getting good prices when we only have 2 bidders.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, may we get a motion to approve 2.5?
So move, Madam Chair, for approval.
Is there a second? It has moved in second. May we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Graves,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook. Yes. Commissioner Maybon.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the motion passes. 2.6, and we have an overview of 2.6.
Mr. Anderson maybe can give us another overview. This is not necessarily an emergency, but was important to bring right away because of the reasons he can lay out.
Yes. So there is a person that is doing development at a house at 2616 Massachusetts Street. The customer has called in multiple times for a complaint. So we went out and checked it out to make sure that it was, I'm sorry. He called in and then we went out to make sure that it was, or to inspect the project, excuse me. Found that he was pretty much the only house on the block. So this, or at least the only house on that side that had a problem. So my suggestion of alternate 1 is to place a manhole there and then fix 60 linear feet of sewer. that is the cost-effective and economical option. So I recommend the repair of the sewer at that section, at 2616 Massachusetts Street.
2216.
26,
22.
oh, 20, I'm sorry, 2216 Massachusetts Street, forgive me.
That's the only home on the block, isn't it? It's only one house.
So it's the only, it is the only house that is connected to that section, hence the manhole there and the connection to the sewer line, to the rest of the sewer line. So that house will be tapped into the sewer line and then connected to the rest of the sewer.
Okay. I just asked because I kind of know that area pretty well. And I know I think there's a lot of rehab going on over in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, the rest of the areas are empty lots.
right.
So yeah, the rehab is happening at that house, at that location where the issue exists.
Okay, I think that goes back to what you were speaking on, Reagan, about potentially looking outside to get some of the bids.
Absolutely, because if, as he stated, it's only 60 linear foot of new line.
Yeah.
And between the manhole and that 60 linear feet, we're paying $100,651. And so we will be looking at some alternatives, especially on these smaller emergency projects that we'll bring back some recommendations to the board on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions? Moving over to 2.6, what's the pleasure of the board?
So move for passage, Madam Chair.
Can I get a second? A second. Resolution has been moved in second. Any roll call?
Commissioner Graves,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook, Commissioner Maybont,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
4 ayes and 0 noes, 2.6 is approved. We have an overview on the motion on 2.7.
So 2.7, if I can, and if it's all right with the board, I will include 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, and 2.10. So these are all regarding the project at 27th and Chase, the pump station bar screen replacement project. That's project number SD 2202. There were 4 items for this one project. One was a time extension, only with a new substantial completion date, but also we've received the certificate of substantial completion from FH Passion and the certificate of final completion from FH Passion. And then we are also requesting that the board approve the release of the retainage for that same project.
Does the change order have any effect on the retainage? Because the change order was for additional time, correct?
It was for additional time. We went back and reviewed all the outstanding invoices. We did not, and maybe Attorney Harris can speak more to this, but we did not deduct for that small extension of time.
Yeah, I don't think that extension moved the chains enough to adjust the retainage release or any of the other requirements. Go ahead.
Mr. Attorney, should we do one vote on all that includes?
I was just going to recommend that for purposes of the motion that you're going to request, I would recommend aggregating each of the agenda items from 2.7 through 2.10 so that someone can make a motion to approve item 2.7 through 2.10.
Sure, I make a motion. Make a motion, Madam Chair, to approve 2.7 through 2.10.
It has been moved in second. Let me get a vote.
Commissioner Graves,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook? Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the combined motion is approved. And we have a claim.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve and ratify GSD claim numbers 191 through 389 in the amount of $2,225,046.08.
Any questions? If not, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
We get a motion.
We need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Oh,
We get a motion.
the motion.
Make a motion.
Thank you, sir.
Sure. Make a motion to accept claims.
We have a motion to approve the claim.
You just made a motion to approve, to accept.
You motioned it already?
No, you did. You just did. You asked for a motion.
I think we have a motion and a second on the floor now. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Graves?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Maybon?
Yes.
Commissioner Morris?
Yes.
The vote is 4 ayes with 0 noes.
4 ayes and 0 noes. The motion for claim is passed. 3.1 is passed. Now for information update.
Greetings, Board. I have no updates on the Lake Street project. It's still pretty much holding at the same place. The US 20 Complete Street project, they're still working on having the utilities relocated. And that is pretty much all I have to update. Yeah.
Thank you. American Structure Point?
Good afternoon, Board of Commissioners. Jim Zarnick from American Structure Point. Just want to give you my typical project update. We'll start with 27th and Chase Phase 3. Happily, that project is out to bid. SRF funding has been secured. Thank you to the good efforts of the staff and the motions approved today. So the project has been advertised in the newspaper, and we're going to have a pre-bid meeting on February 14th. We've had 3 contractors so far pick up, so hopefully we'll get even more than that. The bid opening will be on the 21st, and the contract award will be coordinated with the Indiana Finance Authority. And on to 15th and Clay, the grit removal system replacement. Just want to point out that we've met all of our project deadlines and are still on schedule for that project. The 90% design is targeted complete by February 19th. The process drawings are already 90% complete, and we're working towards 90% completion on the specs, the cost estimate, and the electrical and the structural plans. And then finally, 15th and Clay, the screen replacement project. So we've completed the draft preliminary engineering report, sent that to GSD for review, and looking for that project to be on the next IFA funding cycle. 60% design, we are complete with that. We've submitted that to staff for review. And our targeted deadline for 90% complete is March 10th. And again, we're on schedule with that project as well. And that's all I have.
Okay, any questions?
Thank you.
Now we'll open it up for discussion. No discussion, have we had any request to speak?
We have one, Ms. Doreen Carey.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak this afternoon. My subject tonight, again, or this afternoon, is recycling. I've been a 20-plus year recycler in the city of Gary. So just to say, I'm probably not counted in the number of recyclers that has been mentioned for the city, because we were told last week or 2 weeks ago that the determination of the number was based on the people who've asked for recycling bins in the last 3 years. And that would not be me, because I've had recycling bin and bin recycling for many, many years, not more than, and certainly more than 3. So I'd just like to say that the decision to end curbside recycling was made without consultation of the people of the city of Gary who recycle. And that would have been a very important thing to do, to help look at options and determine what might be done. If we were doing things wrong, then education should have been initiated long ago to help correct that problem, because we've been told that our recycling was contaminated by throwing away things that weren't clean. So I know that that's not what I do, but I do understand from all those years what is the right way to recycle. And so there may have been people who did not understand that, but that would have been something that could have been done through the recycling process by leaving leaflets on the recycling bins to explain to people what the right way was, and why, for instance, maybe their recycling would not be picked up if they did not clean. So there's still an opportunity, I think, to meet with residents and staff and managers, whoever, to review the options to continue curbside recycling for those who wish to recycle. Drop-off will not work here for many, if not most, of the people in the city of Gary. Recycling of paper, cardboard, steel, aluminum, and glass, some plastics, is still beneficial to the environment and does reduce garbage. There are many unanswered questions based on what we've been told so far. The issues of cost, the numbers of residents who actually recycle and where they are, community education, and whether GSD or the city are willing to meet with residents and advocates for recycling that can help resolve this issue and come up with some new ideas and some options. So I believe there are opportunities within the city already to engage residents and staff in these questions. So thank you very much, and I hope that that will be considered by the boards, commissions, and staff and administration of GSD in the city. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could just make a quick announcement. There will be a meeting tonight regarding recycling at 5:30 at Bethel Lutheran Church in the Miller area of Gary. So anyone with questions, I know the city representatives will be there talking about why the change was made. And certainly GSD has something to do with the change, but really GSD is the funder of the new recycling process. So if Ms. Carey, and for anyone else who has questions, the city recycling department, public works department, chief operating officer, and a couple other people from the city will be there to answer whatever questions the community has.
If I could also piggyback on that, just from GSD's perspective, I just want to make sure the public is aware that there wasn't a decision made randomly to stop curbside service. The contract between the Gary Sanitary District and their waste hauling provider, Republic Services, was expiring. And as a result of that expiration, recycling services and the terms of handling that changed dramatically, and to the point where it was cost prohibitive. So the decision that was made regarding how we're handling recycling now was in an effort to save recycling, period. Otherwise, it could have completely gone away. So I know they'll get into that further as part of the public forum later on this evening, but just for this meeting, I wanted to make sure the record was clear.
I have one question on that. The $400,000 grant that was utilized for recycling, is that what we're going to use for the various sites?
No, the $400,000 grant will continue to be used for outreach, education, and to continue a in-house program through the city of Gary.
Any other questions? Well, okay, can we get a call for an adjournment?
Excuse me, Chairman, we have an additional person requesting to speak.
I'm sorry?
We have an additional person to request to speak.
Oh, you do?
Yes, Miss Kimmy Gordon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for allowing me to speak. So this issue, I've been following for some years. I'm also an avid recycler. How you doing? Kimmy Gordon. How you doing, Miss Ola? Hey, Miss Frida. I'm also an avid recycler, and I did notice, so I have a few questions, outside of the realm, but I did notice that there was a recycle truck that the city of Gary used to pick up the recycling, this past week. So I'm wondering, I was, had that question of why, we're the residents, we're the constituents who do recycle. And I know some years ago, there was a magnet that was circulated during Hazardous Waste Day, Hazardous Waste Collection Day, about how to properly recycle. I agree with Doreen when we want the citizens to participate in recycling, or when we do have, recycling throughout the city of Gary, especially seniors. I know it's on the west side, a lot of the seniors participate in recycling because back in the day, you used to be able to get a nickel for a Coke bottle. And so that still holds true for some households when you are able to, reuse, reduce, recycle, the trash that comes, in our households, or the waste that we have in our households. The education piece is so very important. I think that takes priority, to focus on the education piece and educating residents on to how to properly recycle. Administration a couple years ago was recycling pizza boxes and teaching students how to recycle pizza boxes. We don't recycle pizza boxes. That's first and foremost, what we do. If the city of Gary has resources of $400,000 through funding from Lake County Solid Waste District, why aren't we using that to educate the residents on how to recycle? And also, if we have in-house recycling and the resources to do that, we have a truck picking up recycling that knows the routes. Could that have also been an option on the table for residents, to be able to still use curbside? I know a lot of seniors won't be able to do drop-off recycling. People who don't have transportation won't be able to do curbside drop-off recycling. Also, plastics are not even an acceptable item right now, or not have been for some years. We can't get anyone, or not that I'm aware, in Northwest Indiana or in the region to accept plastic. So why weren't the residents aware that plastics are being thrown in the landfill just as they are picked up? What happens to our recycling when it is picked up? Do the residents know anything about the process of recycling in the city of Gary? And why weren't we aware that plastics get sorted out, and the manpower and time that it takes for plastics to get sorted out? We're talking about manpower, man hours, and the time that it takes, for that to happen. We're talking about money, funding, time, resources, people. There are a lot of options out there that I feel that should have been taken under consideration before making such a decision that affects a household's well-being, to include trash. Now, trash will increase probably by 3 times. And so what are we going to look at now? An increase in our sanitary bills because we have more trash to pick up?
Excuse me, Ms. Gordon, that's time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And let me just try to answer a couple of these questions that you gave us to think about. Number one, what we found is that much of the 95% of the loads of recycling are going to the landfill. And it's because you may have one household that are very diligent about their recycling, and then you may have the 10th household in the line that has used their recycling bin for a garbage can, and it got put into the load of recycling. As soon as that recycling load is spoiled, then that whole truckload goes to the landfill. The goal was, with the $400,000 from the solid waste district, there was outreach, there was promotions, there was hazardous waste day. All of those things came out of that grant, along with a recycling truck. What the goal with changing it is to say, okay, now we know that the people who are going to take the time to actually go and dump in these recycling bins know how to recycle. They understand what can be recycled and what can't. So this direction actually gives us a path to actually be recycling the items that are being picked up for recycling. We anticipate cleaner loads because there'll be, especially the one here at GSD, it'll sit next to the guard shack. So we don't anticipate dumping here, and we anticipate that the people who bring their recycling here are knowledgeable recyclers because they're taking the time out to do it. The city of Gary does have a recycling truck, and as we rolled out this process, we wanted to make sure that people were aware that the process was ending. And so they used that one truck to go out and pick up the recycling routes for that 1 week. However, as they found, and as we suspected, as they picked those things up, we found that there was trash in those recycling containers, which ruins it for everyone. And so, yes, should there be, if you're going to recycle, you should know what you can recycle. That's for sure. And so the goal with this new process is to make sure that the people who are bringing it to the drop-off locations understand what can be dropped off, but also that we actually have a real functioning recycling program where the items are actually being recycled. But I encourage you and everyone else to come to the meeting tonight at 5:30 at Bethel Church in Miller to talk about and ask more questions.
Thank you for that overview. May I ask for is there anyone else requesting to speak?
No, ma'am.
Okay, may I get a motion to adjourn? We better join. Pursuant to Indiana law, section 514-1561, I certify that prior to the start of today's meeting, there was an executive session held, and there was nothing discussed in the executive session that was not indicated on the posted notice of the executive session. And being in compliance with Indiana statute, there were no final votes held during executive session. We have roll call, Madam Secretary.
Director Ola Morris.
Here.
Director Maurice Mabon. Director Willie Cook.
Present.
Director Frida Graves.
Present.
Attorney Jewel Harris Jr.
Present.
Executive Director Reagan Hatcher.
Here.
Finance Manager Jerome Foster.
Present.
And that's the end of roll call.
With 4 commissioners present. We have a quorum, so we can get started.
And Madam President, just real quickly, just for the record, William Allen is absent for today's meeting. He let us know he wouldn't be able to make it, and it's an excused absence.
We can now get the meeting started with the minutes, please.
Madam President, I make a motion to accept the executive session and regular minute meetings of January 10 and January 24th of 2025.
I second that motion, Madam Chair.
Thank you. It's been moved in second. Roll call, please.
Director Graves,
Yes to 1.1, abstain to 1.2.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon,
Yes.
Director Morris.
Yes?
So we have, for item 1.1, we have 4 ayes with 0 noes. And item 1.2, we have 3 ayes and 1 abstaining vote.
Okay. The abstention was present, so we had a quorum. So the minutes will pass with the 4.0. New business. An overview on 2.1.
Thank you. I recommend a motion to approve GSWMD payroll earnings for period ending December 30th, 2024 through January 12th, 2025, in the amount of $9,466.95.
Any questions? We have roll call, please. A motion to approve, 2.1.
So move, Madam Chair.
Second, Madam Chair.
Roll call.
Director Graves,
Yes.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon, Director Morris.
Yes?
The vote is 4 ayes with 0 noes.
4 ayes, 0 noes, motion carries for 2.1. 2.2, may we have an overview for that, please?
I recommend a motion to approve professional service contract by and between Gary Stormwater Management District and Center Dalton Municipal Advisors for Financial Consulting Services for year 2025.
Okay, you've heard the, may I get a motion for approval for 2.2, please?
So move, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Roll call.
Director Graves,
Yes.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon, Director Morris.
Yes?
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
4 yeses and 0 noes, motion carries. Claims. 3.1, overview.
I recommend a motion to approve GSWMD claim number 6 through 20 in the amount of $902,421.88. I want to make a note that one of the actual claims is for Grimmer Construction, which is pay app 15. It has 0 effect onto the actual GSD budget. It's for approximately $850,000 of this claim. This is ARPA funds and it's been forwarded over to the city for payment.
Any questions? May I get a motion to approve? 3.1.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's been moved in second, 3.1. Roll call.
Director Graves,
Yes.
Director Cook,
Yes.
Director Maybon, Director Morris.
Yes?
The vote is 4 ayes, 0 noes.
With 4 ayes and 0 noes, the motion passes. 3.1 is approved. Information updates.
Good afternoon, Board.
Good afternoon.
I just have a few updates for you. We have our MS4 coordination meeting scheduled for this coming Monday at 2:30 in the small conference room. At that time, we will review all of the reports from each of the staff persons and for each of the MCMs. On March 19th, the NICEWAG group, that's the Northwest Indiana Stormwater Advisory group, will host its contractors training at the Barbara and Dean White Center in Maryville from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on March 19th. This is a event that is highly attended by contractors in Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties that come together. Over 300 contractors meet to get the training about policy updates, as well as get to hear from each of the municipalities about the challenges in completing your stormwater applications or any stormwater pollution prevention best practices. This is the event in which we share this information with contractors. On March 4th, we're hosting the NICEWAG NICEWAG meeting here at GSD, and we will have guests from IDEM and EPA, and they will talk to us about the new permit that is coming out for industrial permits. And I know that from the work that we do now, of course, we do the municipal stormwater general permit, and we implement those MCMs citywide. However, the state calls on us periodically to go and inspect or assess an industrial site. So what we know that is coming down the pipeline is that the state will start pushing more of the industrial oversight responsibilities to the MS4s, in which houses those industrial businesses. But it will be a collaborative event. We probably will be responsible for going out and doing the inspection, getting that information back to the state, and then they carry out those responsibilities. But we'll hear more about the new policies that are associated with the industrial permit.
What was that date again?
That is March 4th.
Okay, and there's our time associated.
That is at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Yes, from 9 until 11.
And they'll be here.
That'll be here.
Okay.
We received notification from the state MS4 coordinator, Stacy Goodwin. She sent out the new revised annual report form. We'll discuss this at our MS4 meeting on Monday, but it's time, that report is due on April 1st. So, of course, we meet every month, so there shouldn't be any challenges for us to pull together our annual report. However, our biggest challenges usually come from those items in where the city needs to provide us information, thus the MS4 coordination program. So I'll be working on the city side to make sure that I can collect the right information that we need in order to include in the annual report. And then that will come before you guys to review. So we got time is of the essence, and then we will submit that report to the state and according to compliance. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you give the time and place of that contractors meeting for the stormwater one more time?
Yes, that's, the contractors training. It will be held in Maryville on March 19th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. I will be on one of the panels anyway.
And the location?
The location is in Maryville at the Dean and Barbara White Center. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
American Structure Point?
Good afternoon, Board. John Tucker, Structure Point. Quick, not much update, our Lake Street project, current under winter shutdown. Have been in conversation with the contractor. Remaining work is weather dependent, but their hopes is to resume early April, with anticipating early to mid-May to complete the work. Once we get those final dates, I'll continue to report back to the Board and the district. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
What work do they need to complete? As I ride down Lake Street, it looks pretty.
Yeah, so we still have the speed humps to put in. There's
Okay.
speed humps throughout there, those are all asphalt. And then the actual pavement markings and striping, crosswalks, stop bars, et cetera. We do have some miscellaneous concrete repairs to do and develop a punch list item as well. So minor work, but what is remaining is weather dependent, so.
Where will the speed humps go and how far apart and all of that with those?
There are, if I recall, there are 4 or 5 along the entire corridor. There'll be, I can show you on the print or give you a better idea on there, but I would say per block, by those are long blocks, there's at least 1 per block, and some of them there might be 2 strategically placed through there. But I believe there's 4 or 5 in that stretch.
Okay, well, they get, I guess that would include an area near Hemlock, is that not correct?
Yes, yes. I believe there's one between Hemlock and Forest. And then again, as you go further south, I think it's, if I recall, slightly south of Kennedy Terrace.
Okay.
Yes, sir. There actually, if you see right now, there's signs for the speed humps. They're currently turned sideways because they're not there, but the signs are actually in place so that when we do install them, all they have to do is turn the signs for the advanced warning for the speed humps ahead.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Robinson Engineering?
Good afternoon, Directors. Ron Smith with Robinson Engineering. Just a couple of items I'm working on. One is a stormwater flooding issue that we're working with the engineering department with. We'll contact you next week to discuss that in more detail. That's at 223 and 2215 West Fifth Avenue. And I also have 2 task orders that were submitted to the executive director, waiting to discuss those with her, and that's for a septic to sewer analysis project for the east side, and then also an 8-inch sanitary sewer extension in the Black Oak area. That's all I have this afternoon. I'll entertain any questions that directors may have.
Any questions from the board?
For me?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anything the board would like to discuss?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I failed to make the announcement at the previous meeting, but I just wanted everyone to know we had interviews for the plant superintendent last week, and I'm pleased to announce that Tim Austin will now be leading the plant as the plant superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know what you're saying. Any requests to speak?
Yes, we have 2.
I'm sorry?
He was just asking if Tim was here or not. That's all.
We have 2 requests to speak, first being Doreen Carey.
Thank you again for the opportunity to speak, Doreen Carey, and I am a resident of the city of Gary in the 1st District. And I did speak at the Gary Sanitary District meeting, but I think that the issue of recycling also is important for our stormwater district, and so I feel like it's okay to talk about recycling again in that respect. But I would like to say that there is a meeting tonight in Miller at the Bethel Lutheran Church at 5:30 to talk about recycling, but that meeting is being sponsored by the Gary City Council, who are not the people that were responsible for making this decision. So if we're going to actually have a conversation with the Gary Sanitary District or the city administration, I believe that meetings need to be held by one of those entities. And there's plenty of opportunities, especially if there's going to be recycling education, to call together interested residents and people who are recycling advocates to discuss as we go along, because I realize nothing's going to turn around right away here. But I think that more information, more options, more discussion on how we can have a better recycling program here in the city needs to be ongoing, because clearly the problems that we're facing today did not happen overnight. And so we need to figure out what things need to be done in order to make recycling work here, because it is a beneficial activity, does reduce trash. There are things that can be recycled and reused, and we should not be throwing those things in the trash. So I'm asking again that Gary Sanitary District, Gary Stormwater Management District, someone in the city offer the option of residents to participate in an ongoing discussion on how we can make this better and how we can go back to curbside recycling so that everybody in the city who wants to recycle can recycle. Thank you.
Thank you. Call for an adjournment, please.
We have one additional person requesting to speak, Miss
Again, I did it again, didn't I?
Miss Kimmy Gordon.
This time she was, sorry about that.
Thank you again for my 2 minutes, which I guess starts now. So I also, I'm going to back Doreen on that, but my issue was that it was called in the first district and held in the first district. And though I live in the first district, I'm all about GI, born and raised on the west side. So does that exclude the rest of Gary? Does the rest of Gary feel left out? Yeah, so the meeting's in the first district at 5:30 tonight. So I'm wondering how we get the rest of Gary involved. And my second issue was just an, afterthought. When I rolled up on 900 Madison a few weeks ago, all those brand-new recycle containers that are sitting in the warehouse, what happens to those? The green and yellow ones, there's stacks and stacks of them. There's a ton of them. And the red ones. So what happens to that surplus? And also, just a last observation, I really never attend in-person meetings, but I guess just for transparency, if I did attend meetings on a regular basis, I noticed that on both the GSD meeting and the stormwater meeting, there's a listing for a contract for professional services for Sender, 2.2 on the Stormwater Management District, and I think it's another for Sender on the Sanitary District. If there's no amount listed, but I see the amounts listed on every other, professional services contract or like anything that has to do with anything financial, that it be read aloud. I'm not a commissioner or board person that way, but it was just an observation I noticed just perusing the notes. But yeah, thank you for allowing me to speak again.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more requests to speak?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can we get an motion to adjourn? Adjourn?
So moved.
We are now adjourned.